if Cynthia just wanted, I don't know, she seems to be easily not duped, but she seems to be easily swayed. And that leads me to my last and the most important red flag in my personal opinion, which is this. Cynthia Bailey had unhealed emotional wounds. I don't want to get too woo-woo in there, and I'm not blaming Cynthia. This is by no means me saying this is Cynthia's fault. But I think that Cynthia had not properly healed from her divorce from Peter. I don't think that Cynthia had properly worked through her own issues of codependency, her own issues of, kind of being beta in the sense we all know that she used to play beta to Nene. Then she played beta to Kenya. She played beta to Peter in their marriage with allegations of financial abuse. When she was on Celebrity Big Brother, she played beta to Carson Kressley. We saw her have a very codependent meltdown on the Real Housewives of Ultimate Girls Trip when she was there with Kenya and Kenya was making friends with the other girls. Again, Kenya was very shady how she moved because she knew Cynthia's codependent tendencies. And so she did certain things that she knew would trigger and set Cynthia off. Now, I think that Cynthia should have taken a step back from dating. And I think she should have went to therapy. And I think she should have worked on herself because she is such a beautiful, intelligent, accomplished woman that she should know her worth. So then she doesn't fall prey to guys like Peter Thomas, who will emotionally and financially allegedly abuse you. You don't fall prey to people like Mike Hill, who will allegedly emotionally and clown you and publicly embarrass you with all these cheating allegations and who just want to use you for a come up. You know your worth and you know your value, and you see all of the signs that we saw, and you run the other way. You don't marry them. Okay? Now let's get into it. So, the reason why I bring this up, and we can talk about it, and this is from Reality T. So, after Cynthia Bailey divorces Peter Thomas, she sues him for $170,000, but then she dismisses it. Let's get into it. Cynthia Bailey dismisses $170,000 lawsuit against ex-husband Peter Thomas. She dropped her peach and now she's dropping a lawsuit too. According to a report from Radar Online, recently axed Real Housewives of Atlanta star Cynthia Bailey has chosen to dismiss a $170,000 lawsuit that she filed against her ex-husband Peter Thomas. This lawsuit also stems from Peter's old nightclub, Bar One. Back when Cynthia and Peter were still together, you might remember Bar One shutting down because of the building went into foreclosure. Okay? When that happened, Cynthia supposedly loaned Peter $170,000 to help secure a new location in Atlanta for the nightclub. He had 36 months to make it happen, but it never did. And unfortunately, Cynthia's name was on the deed for the new building. In 2017, Cynthia and Peter divorced, and he went on to open new bars in North Carolina and Miami. However, in 2017 interview with Essence, Cynthia revealed that she still had unfinished business related to the Atlanta endeavor. I am his partner at Bar One Atlanta. We're building it out now, Cynthia explained. This was a project that we started while we were together, and we kind of put it on hold while we were kind of not liking each other so much, she said. At this point, it sounds like the project stayed on hold indefinitely because there is no Bar One Atlanta. And the building they secured went into foreclosure. So in December of 2020, we learned that Cynthia started going after that $170K. At the time, Peter did an interview with blogger Michelle Atalian Brown, saying that he was hurt by the lawsuit, but 50 Cent was probably hurting for that money back, especially after the lackluster 13th season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Earlier this year, Cynthia defended the lawsuit during an appearance on The Wendy Williams Show. Peter and I had an agreement. She explained it was a 3-year agreement, a contract over the piece of property here in Atlanta, and he pretty much made the terms himself. And I was like, okay, so in 3 years, I will sell this back to you and you pay me off, whatever. That didn't happen. Cynthia, why did he make the terms? See, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Whew. Cynthia continued to explain that her lawyers sprung into action as soon as the 3-year period was up. She continued telling Wendy Williams, so therefore, as soon as that date hit, then my lawyers just went into like, okay, well, he's in breach, and we're going to do everything we need to do to make sure you have that property again. So it was as simple as that. It was a 3-year agreement, which I thought was more than enough time to settle what we needed to settle. About 9 months later, Cynthia decided to drop the case altogether. It's unclear to exactly why she gave up on pursuing her money. Maybe it just wasn't worth the effort, or perhaps that settled the issue outside the court. Either way, hopefully Cynthia can officially close the door on her relationship with Peter now that they've settled this unfinished business. Now, the reason why I think that's important to talk about is because I think it just, again, it goes into her psyche of allowing men to use her. You're going into a loan for $170,000 on his terms. He defaults, it goes into foreclosure. You then trying to go after your money, and then all of a sudden you just poop, dismiss it. Why? Why didn't you still continue to go after your paper? Now, I know that Cynthia and I believe her sister and her mom did an episode of Iyanna Fix My Life. And I know that Cynthia had to work at a very early age modeling, and she was supporting her family. And she also grew up, and I know that her mom was in an abusive relationship. And Cynthia basically grew up taking care of the mom and the sister financially and emotionally, which is why she's probably had that codependent personality where she feels like she has to provide for everybody, be a yes person, do everything for everyone, which is why she gets into these interpersonal relationships where she's usually the one being used and allowing the bigger personality to use her. We've seen it with Nene, Kenya, Carson, Peter, and now Mike Hill. It's a pattern of behavior. And I think that until she heals her own emotional wounds, she's going to continue to be this beautiful, intelligent, amazing woman that still attracts people who just want to use her. And it's not her fault. It's not blaming her. It's not criticizing her. It's just saying there comes a point where you have to take responsibility for your own healing so you don't continuously allow this to happen. I'm sorry, but if I was Cynthia and Peter owed me $170K and was out here clouding me, I would not be his friend anymore. But yet we're still hearing Peter Thomas coming out, having Cynthia's back during the divorce. They're still friends. They're still keying and hee-hawing this, that, and the third. And Nene is not her friend. Nene was out here calling Peter Thomas, oh, he's a restaurant mogul. Oh, I want Peter Thomas to help me promote Lenithia Lounge and blah, 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 blah. Nene is still all in Peter's face. I wish my alleged best friend would. If my ex-husband owed me $170,000, he's defaulted on that loan. Now it's in foreclosure and my name is on that and he's refusing to pay me. And now you're all up in his face like he's some business mogul when he owes me $170K. Never again would I speak to you. Never again will we be friends. But yet, even though maybe Cynthia and Nene's friendship is still strained, she's still wanting to be friends with Nene, wanting to be friends with Peter, wanting to be friends with Mike. Doesn't make sense. If somebody does you dirty, you don't have to stay friends with them. You don't. I would never speak to Nene again in my life if she was my best friend, or actually just a friend. You want to sit in my face and say you're a friend to me, you're a sister to me, and yet you're all in my ex-husband's face, knowing how dirty he did me? Never again. And never again would I be out here getting support and being friends with a man who allegedly cheated on me. I'm talking about Peter. Allegedly cheated on me and I'll say alleged, but it's all in the court system, who also financially abused me. Don't forget when Cynthia was getting married the first time, her mother and her sister hid the marriage license because they didn't want her to get married to him. There was already speculation that he was financially abusing her. Her family already said Peter isn't right for you, he's just using you. And she still married him. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So it's no surprise that she went from being married to Peter, getting divorced, jumping into dating other men, and then gets, hoodwinked by Mike Hill. Because Mike Hill, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, he's one of those predatory guys. And by predatory, I don't mean he assaults people. I don't mean that. By predatory, I mean I think he's the type of, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but that type of narcissistic personality where they can smell a vulnerable person. They can smell a codependent person. They know the women to target. They know who they can use and abuse. They know who they can, get what they want and discard them. That's why he's cheated on every wife and every girlfriend. That's why he has no problems talking about he can't control his urges. That's why he has no problem saying he's friends with all women and all of that. You see what I'm saying? That's why he has no problem with all of that. Because he's that narcissistic type who's going to look you in the face, tell you that they're going to use you, and then you're going to smile and say, "Okay, go ahead, use me." He already said he wanted to come up. He wanted to go into entertainment. And then he sat on that show next to Cynthia promoting his book the entire time. And then the moment his book was out, the moment Cynthia no longer was on Bravo, they're divorced. I don't think it's a coincidence. His book launched. He's doing his thing. He's now moved into different circles. She's no longer on Bravo. She's trying to do the acting thing. And the acting thing is great, but I think she's been doing, small stuff here and there, which is amazing. Cynthia, you go, girl, you do it, you get after it. But I think once he got what he wanted from her, he was out. He was out. And I think the biggest problem is that Cynthia didn't take a beat and say, maybe I need to separate myself from toxic friends. Maybe I need to put a pause on dating. Just because you break up with someone doesn't mean it's time for hot girl summer. Maybe you take a break from dating people. Maybe you get a good therapist and you sit with yourself and you heal within yourself. So then you're healed and you're whole. So then when you do have your hot girl summer, when you do get back on the dating pool, you're doing it from a place of being whole and being healed. So then when you get a man like Mike Hill, who has all of these red flags that we went through over the last hour, every single thing should have been telling you run, run, run. Sure, he could have been a good throwaway, a good drive-by, a good you up text, but Mike Hill was not marriage material. He was not marriage material. So, ugh, but I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to do a quick outro for the people who will watch this on the replay, but stick around, Candy Canes, because then I will go over your comments and your questions. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. Put it in the comment box below. What do you think was the biggest red flags when it came to Cynthia and Mike Hill? What do you think about her continued friendship with Peter, even though he owes her $170K and probably messed up her credit with that foreclosure? I don't know. I'm not a credit person. I have no idea. Put it down below. Let me know what you think. And as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a kiki is always better with community. And don't forget to shop our description box down below and our love collection. So with that, like, share, subscribe, and now we'll take some candy cane comments. All right, you guys, let's get into it.